Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. My name is Kitty Pahel. We're starting this edition with our top focus, the latest on the NEET controversy. The Supreme Court accepted the centre's decision to scrap the controversial grace marks awarded to over 1,500 students, who will now be given the option to appear for a re-exam. The Education Minister has denied there was any paper leak, but the Congress is demanding a judicial probe and for the NTA chief to be sacked. Meanwhile, the NTA has moved top court seeking transfer of all petitions filed in different high courts to the Supreme Court. Take a look at this report.
In a decision that has done little to placate NEET candidates across the country, the Supreme Court has accepted the centre's solution to the admission mess. The centre told the court grace marks given to 1,563 NEET undergraduate 2024 candidates for admission to MBBS and BDS will be cancelled. These students have the option of either taking a retest on June 23rd or they can seek admission based on their marks without the grace marks. The court, however, declined to halt the admission counselling process, which will start on July 6th. Retest results will be declared on June 30th. But protests continued in many parts of the country, with NEET candidates and their parents demanding a retest and a probe, alleging that the paper was leaked at certain centres. But the government has denied any paper leak and defended the National Testing Agency, which conducts the NEET undergraduate examination.
पेपर लीक की हमारे पास कोई जानकारी नहीं है। मैंने उस रीट पिटीशन को अनुध्यान कराया, कोई भी एक भी जगह पे प्रमाण नहीं है। एक एलिगेशन पेपर लीक हुआ है, कहाँ है प्रमाण हुआ है? एक कोई एक दो चीजों की न्यूज आइटम पे अगर प्रमाण आधारित होता है तब कोर्ट उसको विचार करेगी, सरकार अपना पक्ष रखेगी, वो कोर्ट में 8 जुलाई को चर्चा भी होगी। मेरे जितना जानकारी है, नीट एक कॉम्पिटेंट एग्जामिनेशन करने वाला अथॉरिटी बन चुकी है। आने वाले दिनों में सारे प्रकार की शंका संशय को दूर करने के लिए और पारदर्शिता लिया जाएगा और जो लोग उसमें कहीं ना कहीं एक आधा जगह पे कुछ गड़बड़ी करने का कोशिश कर भी रहे होंगे, उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई भी लिया जाएगा।
But far from satisfying the opposition, the government statement sparked off a war of words.
We demand a Supreme Court monitored investigation. The NTA chairperson should be removed from his post.
After the NEET, we are suffering a lot. We don't have doctors in rural areas. The whole, health system is suffering because NEET has been brought in.
For Tamil Nadu, that demands exemption from NEET, arguing the exam only favors affluent students who can afford private coaching, denying level playing field for poor, high-scoring rural students. The shoddy NEET results have only bolstered its plea.
Despite the war of words between the government and the opposition, the Supreme Court has endorsed the National Testing Agency's proposal for having a retest. But the big question remains is the trauma for the students who have to reappear for this professional exam. With Sam Daniel in Chennai, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
Well, the opposition has said that it's going to raise the NEET issue in the parliament. Both Congress party as well as the DMK have said that they are going to take up the issue in the upcoming session. Listen in.
You addressed a press conference today in which you said that the way in which the government is addressing the NEET issue is insensitive and irresponsible. Now, the government actually put in place a committee, a high-level committee which probed this issue. Many people would also say that there has been an option of retest that has been given to students. Why would you say that this approach would be insensitive and irresponsible?
What form of inquiry has the government done before they gave a clean check to itself? What kind of independent inquiry was done? Because the inquiry was done by the NTA, the very same body which has completely misled 24 lakh students who have given up valuable years of the youth to prepare for this all-important NEET exam. There has been lakhs of money which has traded hands. There have been a nexus of exam centers, coaching centers, and definitely officials in the NTA who have leaked these questions. And the education minister, having taken oath only a few days ago, has given them a clean chit. I want to know how many parents has he met? How many students has he met? What cognizance has he taken of the issue? What are the findings that this committee has got, and can they make it public? So they are trying to shoot and scoot. They're trying to avoid this issue. I'm glad Rahul Gandhi ji and the Congress party has taken up the issue of NEET exam, because this affects 24 lakh students. It affects the future of the Indian medical fraternity and the lives of our young people, the hard-earned money of their parents, the mental anxiety of these young students cannot be trifled with. And therefore, the Congress party demands that we want a Supreme Court monitor investigation, because this government is not serious about the lives of these students. The Prime Minister gives examination-related advice on the eve of board examinations. Where is he? Why is he quiet? So we felt that this is an important issue. This issue will resonate the chambers of the parliament when the session convenes in a few weeks from now.
Tamil Nadu government and our Chief Minister has passed a resolution in the assembly, so with the support of most of the political parties in the Tamil Nadu assembly, and sent it to the union government. And I think it is still pending with the president for approval.
Will you be raising this in the upcoming parliament session as well?
Definitely we will be raising it. We have been raising it many times, and we will be raising it, and we will be insisting that justice to be done.
You are now the head of parliamentary party of the DMK. You'll be leading them in the Lok Sabha. Is that some issue? Is that an issue which will bring various political parties in opposition together, the India bloc together, in demanding that it should be scrapped altogether, that these examinations should be done away with? Mere corrections is not good enough. Fixing is not good enough.
In Tamil Nadu, I think all the political parties in Tamil Nadu, of course, except the BJP, I think all the political parties in Tamil Nadu are, even the partners who are NDA partners, alliance partners, are insisting that NEET has to be done away with and Tamil Nadu has to be exempted from it.
More news now. Prime Minister Modi will be in Italy to attend a summit of Group of Seven, which is likely to be dominated by Ukraine and Gaza ceasefire talks. India, which has been invited to the G7 summit as an outreach country, has defense and maritime cooperation on its agenda. PM Modi will also be meeting US President Joe Biden and is also expected to hold a meeting with the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and other leaders to review bilateral ties. Vishnu Som reports from Bari in Italy.
Hello and welcome to Bari, Italy. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now on his way to Italy to be a key part of this G7 process. It's the 11th time that India has been called as a special invitee to the G7 process. The reason this is important and interesting is because India is increasingly seen to be a voice of the global south. The G7 itself was an economic grouping when it began, but the nature of the globe's economy has changed. India is now the world's 5th largest economy. In fact, India's economy is larger than that of Canada, of the host Italy, and of France as well. So India's economic might is something to be spoken about. While he's over here, the Prime Minister will be looking at artificial intelligence. He'll be looking at Pacific Ocean security, Pacific issues. He'll be looking at Africa. He'll be looking at climate change as well, and also important issues of migration. But the key question is whether global leaders will be asking Prime Minister Narendra Modi about the Ukraine situation, because the Ukraine crisis is very much at the heart, at the core of what this G7 is all about. There are important bilateral meetings which are also expected to take place over here. There will certainly be one between India and Italy. Remember, Italy is a strategic partner of India. Giorgia Meloni and the Prime Minister have had an excellent working relationship. The Italian Prime Minister was in India for G20. She was also there as on a state visit. The relationship between India and Italy sees an increased engagement as far as the economy is concerned, military to military ties is concerned, high-tech transfers are concerned. But there is also an old historic connection that people don't talk about. In the Second World War, 50,000 Indians fought for the liberation of Italy from their fascist rulers at that stage. Indian soldiers participated in some of the greatest battles I should say, of that time, whether it's the Battle of Monte Cassino or battles in many other areas of Italy. Today, the Indian community, and there are 2 lakh people of Indian origin, have a big say in the Italian economy. They are a key part of the Parma dairy, the ham and cheese industry as it were. They've had a fantastic role over here. But in as much as these are positive aspects of the relationship with Italy, there are challenges as well. In Brindisi, there is a bust which is under construction of Gandhiji, which was defaced apparently by those sympathetic to the Khalistani movement. India's ambassador to Rome has told us that this is a concern which has been brought up with Italian authorities. That bust has been cleaned up for the moment, but there is that concern about sympathizers of the Khalistan movement being here in Italy as well. In fact, we've seen this in the past as well. But tomorrow is going to be the really big important day as far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned. He gets here, remember, very late at night tonight. He's here for just 24 hours, unlike other visits where there is often a stadium or an auditorium which is booked out, where he reaches out to the diaspora. On this occasion, there'll be a very small interaction or engagement with the diaspora lasting no more than 5 to 6 minutes. We are here in Italy. We'll be tracking every aspect of this very important visit. Remember, it's the first time that the Prime Minister, after being sworn in, is traveling abroad. This sets the path, the agenda for his foreign policy outreach going forward. With camera person Rakesh Singh in Bari, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
We'll continue to bring you all the developments related to the G7 summit on NDTV. Meanwhile, some more news that we're tracking now. The heat wave is back in Delhi. As there is no end to the water crisis, the political blame game is continuing. The Aam Aadmi Party government has said that the water pilferage is taking place on the Haryana side and extra water is not being provided. The BJP, on the other hand, has said that the Delhi government is hiding its own failures, as the Himachal government did a U-turn in the Supreme Court, saying there will be no extra water for the national capital.
A day of U-turns and more blame games as Delhi battles a harsh summer and a water crisis. In a twist in the Supreme Court battle over Delhi's spiralling water crisis, Himachal Pradesh today said it does not have surplus water to send to the national capital, a day after the hill state said it had released water for Delhi. This, as yet another round of blame game took place between Delhi's AAP government and the BJP. In an affidavit to the Supreme Court, the Delhi government blamed Haryana again for the water crisis, saying that water theft via tanker mafias was happening on the Haryana side of the crucial Munnak Canal that supplies water to Delhi. The BJP hit back, saying AAP was not interested in solving the problem.
The Aam Aadmi Party, Kejriwal government has absolutely no intention of curing this crisis in Delhi. This is not a natural crisis. This is a crisis which has been created and orchestrated by the Aam Aadmi Party only to ensure there is corruption, to fill up their deep pockets, as well as to ensure that the tanker mafia continues to operate in Delhi.
हरियाणा पुलिस और दिल्ली पुलिस दोनों भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंडर आते हैं. अगर वो इन टैंकरों से पानी भरना रोकना चाहते हैं तो वो आज रोक सकते हैं, लेकिन वो राजनीति कर रहे हैं.
After NDTV exposed this water theft at Munnak Canal, the Delhi government has stepped up patrolling along the canal route. But a visit to this crucial water pipeline in another part of Delhi exposed the AAP government's claims of clamping down yet again. NDTV cameras captured water being wasted due to multiple leakages.
We are reporting from Nizamuddin, where you can see that this is a pipeline where there is a leakage that is happening. We are showing you the visuals and you can see the amount of water that is being wasted. This is the drinking water that is being wasted, and the amount, the liters and liters of water that is being wasted here. And this is just one point of leakage on this pipeline. We are showing you that there is another point of leakage on this entire pipeline that you can see, and there are yet another. So there are 3 points of leakage that we are seeing currently here on this pipeline.
Despite all the attention around Delhi's water crisis, the big question, will things get better? With Ishika Verma, Bureau Report, NDTV.
All right, well, with that, it's time for a short break here. More news and updates on the other side. After the break, Prime Minister Modi reviewed the situation in Jammu Kashmir with the NSA and other officials, focusing on security and counter-terror efforts. He has discussed the deployment of security forces with Home Minister Amit Shah and assessed the local administration's efforts with Jammu Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha. Listen in to what the Jammu Kashmir DGP had to say on the situation on the ground.
सिक्योरिटी चैलेंज है, हम इसको इनकार नहीं करते हैं। टेररिस्ट हमारे सामने खड़े हो जाते हैं बंदूक लेकर मरने के लिए और मारने के लिए, तो हम भी अपने हिसाब से इसको तैयारी कर रहे हैं। हम अपना सारे रिसोर्सेज को मैप कर रहे हैं और हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि इसकी मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया जाएगा। और वो बहुत ज़्यादा तादाद में नहीं है, पर यह है कि वो कानून के बाहर है और उनका कोई आगे पीछे नहीं है, इसलिए उनकी नुकसान करने की क्षमता जरूरत से ज़्यादा दिखती है। अब ये गिन गिन के एक एक करके इनको मुंह करारा जवाब देंगे, चुन चुन कर एक एक कर। हम ज़्यादा तो तादाद नहीं है, हम इनको मार गिराएंगे। हम एक माहौल जो बन रहा है उस माहौल को हम बिगाड़ेंगे। जब उनके पास यहाँ के लोग नहीं मिलते हैं तो वहाँ के अपने लोगों को उसमें डाल रहे हैं। हाँ, यहाँ बीच में जैसे मैंने कहीं और भी कहा था कि एनिमी एजेंट्स पैसों के लिए बिकते हैं, नारकोटिक्स के लिए बिकते हैं और वो उनके मदद करने में बीच बीच में जरूर हैं और उनका निशानदेही हुई है और आगे होगा। और खासकर उन लोगों को हम खबरदार कर रहे हैं कि वो तो मरेंगे, उनका कोई आगे पीछे नहीं है, उनके बाल बच्चों को छोड़ के वो है भी कि नहीं हमें पता नहीं है, जेलों से उठा के ला रहे हैं, किसको ला रहे हैं। यहाँ के लोग जो उनको सपोर्ट करने के लिए बीच बीच में कोशिश कर रहे हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा पछताएंगे, क्योंकि उनके घर वाले, उनका स्टेक यहाँ पे, उनकी जमीन है, उनकी जायदाद है, उनकी नौकरी है, उनकी बगीचे हैं, तो वो इसमें देश के विरुद्ध अगर कोई इस तरीके से काम करेगा बहुत ज्यादा नुकसान उठाएगा।
All right, some more news now. 4 Uttarakhand Forest Department staffers died and 4 others were injured when the team was caught up in a raging forest fire in Almora district. Authorities have said the 4 people died while they were trying to douse the fire. My colleague Kishore Rawat gets us more.
फिलहाल अभी 4 लोगों की ही मौत की खबर है, जिसमें 3 फॉरेस्ट के कर्मचारी और एक पीआरडी का कर्मचारी है। इसके अलावा जो 4 लोग घायल हुए हैं वो भी उसमें 3 फॉरेस्ट के और एक पीआरडी का कर्मचारी है। दरअसल अल्मोड़ा जिले के जो बिनसर वन्यजीव सेंचुरी है वहां पे इनको सूचना मिली थी कि उस जगह पे जंगल में आग लगी हुई है, तो उसको बुझाने के लिए 8 लोग गए थे। जैसे वहां पहुंचते तो आग काफी तेज थी, भड़क गई और इसमें ये लोगों को मौका नहीं मिल पाया, जिसमें 4 लोगों की वहीं पे मौत हो गई और 4 लोग जो घायल हो गए उनको हल्द्वानी के सुशीला तिवारी हॉस्पिटल में रेफर किया है। और मुख्यमंत्री ने निर्देश दिया है कि इनको एयरलिफ्ट कर ऋषिकेश एम्स लाया जाए और वहां पे इनका इलाज किया जाएगा। इसके अलावा जो फॉरेस्ट की जीप थी, उस सूचना जो मिल रही है वो भी आग की चपेट में आ गई और वो भी जल गई। तो ये दुखद घटना है और अब तक उत्तराखंड में अगर बात करें तो इन 4 लोगों की मौत के साथ 9 लोगों की मौत फॉरेस्ट फायर में हो चुकी है और पिछले 24 घंटों में फिलहाल 8 जगहों पे उत्तराखंड में फॉरेस्ट फायर की घटनाएं हुई है।
Well, quite unfortunate news coming in from Uttarakhand. Meanwhile, after the fire in Kuwait claimed 40 lives, many of those were from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Their mortal remains are being brought back to India. 21 people from Kerala had died, while 7 from Tamil Nadu had lost their lives.
A shattered family in Kerala's Punalur mourning the death of their son Sergeant George. With an M.Tech degree, he had moved to Kuwait only last month with big dreams. He was one among the 40 Indians charred to death in the terrible fire tragedy in Kuwait on Wednesday. In another part of the district, families are heartbroken over the death of Lucas. He's been working in Kuwait for 18 years. He left behind his wife and 2 children. Samir was scheduled to return home soon to his wife he had married just 9 months ago. Workers, mostly Indians from Kerala and Tamil Nadu, were fast asleep early in the morning when the fire broke out. Some jumped for safety as the inferno that started in the kitchen spread to the top floors with cylinders exploding. An investigation is underway.
The state government of Kerala has announced 5 lakhs along with the Norca board vice chairperson Shri Yusuf Ali has announced 5 lakhs along with the Norca board director Shri Ravi Pillai has announced 2 lakhs. Total of 12 lakhs have been announced as immediate compensation to the families of the deceased, and another 1 lakh has been announced as compensation by the state government to the injured.
அவங்கள அடையாளம் கண்ட பிறகு அந்த உடலை பொறுப்போடு அந்த யாருடைய உரிமைதாரரோ அவரிடத்தில் ஒப்படைக்கின்ற பணியும் அவர்களுக்கு தேவையான நிவாரணமும் கேட்டு பெற்று தர வேண்டியது தமிழக அரசினுடைய கடமை.
Many are being treated for injuries. Identifying the charred remains is a challenge. DNA testing would be done. The centre deployed Union Minister of State for External Affairs Kirti Vardhan Singh to Kuwait to oversee rescue and repatriation. An Air Force plane is on standby to bring the mortal remains back. As India emerges to be a key human resource provider globally, the Kuwait fire tragedy underscores yet again the unsafe conditions Indian workers often live in the Middle East, a key issue to work on and fix for the new government. With SP Babu in Kerala, in Chennai, with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find TV.